Congratulations, College of Engineering Class of 2021. Today, I am honored to be with you as you graduate from the best university in the Philippines and one of the finest in the world. And of course, the best college at UP Diliman. Since I received the invitation to these recognition rites, I have been thinking about which life lessons to share with you. I have decided it is best to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes in my life and what I have learned from them and how they have allowed me to grow and reach my potential. So allow me to tell you these 3 stories and make sure that you learn from them as I have over the past years. I assure you, if you learn anything from my 3 mistakes, you will already be ahead of me as you leave this university, and you will be in better position to enjoy the journey of life that you are set to embark on. Number 1, when I said no to my dream job. Graduating from the College of Engineering in the summer of 1992 as a chemical engineer, the best and most prestigious jobs at that time were with what is called the fast-moving consumer goods segment. Companies with products that are sold quickly and at relatively low cost. You probably have used Colgate-Palmolive's toothpaste and soap, Johnson's & Johnson's baby care products, Best for Baby, Best for You, and Nestle's Milo, Nido, and Nescafe. All of these multinationals were known for very good compensation, generous benefits, including the customary rice allowance, and the opportunity to travel abroad to attend seminars and trainings. For someone who had only ridden an airplane once, a C-130 cargo plane of the Philippine Air Force without any seatbelts, to bring relief goods to the earthquake victims in Baguio in 1990, this was a very exciting opportunity. Given all these great companies, there was one multinational that stood out. Perhaps it was the fact that some of my classmates had interned there over the summer and told us many stories of how they thoroughly enjoyed their 6-week experience. Or maybe it was the fact that one alumnus who had just started at this company was now driving his brand new Toyota Corolla as he came back to campus to visit us. Whichever it was, I knew then that I needed to work with that company. And so, as I was going through the process of applying to numerous companies, I gave special attention and care to filling up my information sheet before I submitted it to the human resources of Procter Gamble, the maker of well-known brands Pampers, Whisper, Tide, Mr. Clean, and Safeguard. Over the coming days and weeks, we all went through the process of taking an exam, a follow-up exam, joining the face-to-face interviews, and waiting to see if we would be called back for the next step. And of course, all along, I would ensure that I was at the top of my game whenever I was taking an exam or being interviewed by managers at P&G. Soon enough, the call came. This was the moment I was waiting for. Not only did I put my best foot forward over the past few weeks during the application period, but I had also put in my best effort over the past 10 semesters and 3 summers. No failing grade, though I have all other grades, including everything from 1.0 to 4.0 and a drop and an incomplete. I knew that it was to be the job offer already. I could already see myself driving a brand new car after 6 months. I could certainly see myself with a passport in hand and perhaps a US visa allowing me to travel to the US. I was ready to take the next step, to attend that job offer, negotiate a little bit, and accept the inevitable hiring by Procter Gamble, and soon realize all of the dreams and hopes that I had. But then, something happened. I did not go to the job offer at all. While I really wanted everything that working with this multinational represented, I felt that it wasn't the right time to work there yet. You see, my father died when I was 11 years old, and since my mother was a full-time homemaker at that time, the only way for my sister and me to be able to study was to get scholarships. We were both extremely fortunate to be able to do so as students at the Philippine Science High School, and later on as a DOST scholar at the College of Engineering. I knew what I needed to do at that time, and that was to serve the underprivileged in any capacity that I could, to be able to help, give back, or pay it forward. So as a 20-year-old, and along with 3 other friends from the UP Student Catholic Action, we founded our non-profit organization. I became the founding executive director of the Samahan ng Ikaunlad ng Katutubong Agham at Teknolohiya, it was to become a whirlwind and exciting 3-year journey for me, as we immediately identified the fisherfolk of Cabangan, Zambales as our priority beneficiaries and built a marine reserve in that area. All along, working with the locals to bring the appropriate technology to their fishing livelihood and the microfinance system that Muhammad Yunus pioneered. I know what you are thinking. Why would someone who had a guaranteed job from a top multinational just throw it away to do NGO work that likely did not pay him enough? You are right on one thing. I wasn't paid enough. In fact, the 3,250 peso monthly salary that we all decided we would give the 4 founders wasn't paid on a timely basis. And often, we all had to pitch in just to be able to have some cash to pay for what was needed for our community work. But what those 3 wonderful years gave me were the following important lessons. A. Strive to make a difference. Helping people, giving back, and paying it forward allowed me to experience the fulfillment and sense of purpose, which were so much more valuable than any monetary compensation that I could have received working for a multinational at 20 years old. Of course, it was easy for me to say that because I did not have any family nor responsibilities, which was precisely the reason that I did it at that time. So if you have the opportunity to serve today, do take it. And B, whatever it takes mentality. Have the discipline to become the hardest worker even when no one is looking. As the executive director of a just recently founded NGO which had no funds, we had to work our butts off in countless long nights of project conceptualization, proposal writing, and project execution. You do whatever is needed to succeed. Today, 29 years after its founding, CCAT is still going strong. In fact, it has won multiple awards, including the recognition as one of the 10 best NGOs in Southeast Asia. I am very happy and extremely proud to have been part of CCAT's journey. Number 2, when I left a stable job the same month that I was promoted. Funny how life works. As you may know, I eventually did get to work at Procter Gamble. I was hired in 1995, and at that time, it was an even better opportunity than in 1992 because P&G was building their new state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Cabuyao, Laguna, which once fully operational would allow P&G to consolidate all manufacturing and logistics operations. Definitely, being part of the new was much better than being part of the old. It wasn't just the new facilities, but the introduction of a new work culture that intrigued me. This culture was a departure from the traditional hierarchical structures to a more team-oriented one with significantly less layers. This was to be P&G's global experiment on empowerment, and I was determined to learn everything I could about it. As an older management trainee compared to my peers, with the benefit of 3 years of work experience, I was moved around through the technical, manufacturing, logistics, and engineering functions in what is known as broadening assignments. When you are given all of these opportunities and exposure to multiple segments of the business, you are being groomed for more responsibilities. They see you as someone who can eventually lead their business units, both local and international. And so it came as no surprise to me when I was offered an expatriate assignment to work for the company in Singapore. Not only had I heard a lot of stories about being an expat, but I actually saw how the lives of my 4 American bosses changed because of their expat assignments and lifestyle here in Manila. They were living in huge houses in the exclusive villages of Dasmariñas and Ayala, Alabang. They had a security guard, a couple of drivers, and yayas, and helpers too many to count. This was a drastic departure from how they lived in America, which was very Spartan and without any of these people helping them out for their day-to-day living. Did I want to live this way? Did I want to at least experience and enjoy it while it lasted? Even if there are no Dasmariñas or Ayala Alabang villages in Singapore, and even if vehicles there were too expensive, at least I wanted to try out that expat lifestyle. As you probably know by now, I never did get to experience that expat lifestyle. Never did get to send my kids to international school at the expense of my employer. never did get to earn much more compared to the compensation that I was receiving on a local assignment. And to top it all off, I actually resigned the same month that I was promoted to group manager, which is the equivalent of a vice president level at other companies, having achieved that milestone as one of the fastest in the company to do so. So why did I leave this stable, promising job? This multinational that allowed me to buy my first car, that had such a generous medical coverage that I did not pay a single centavo when my first 2 children were born by cesarean section. Why would I leave a job that I felt I was doing well and where the bosses acknowledged my abilities and contribution by giving me a promotion? Why would I leave a job that would basically take care of my family's future even after my retirement? The answer in one word: basketball. I first fell in love with basketball when I was about 6 years old. We had recently moved to our new house in Teachers Village. I had no friends and no relatives in the neighborhood. So when my mom saw a basketball court just a few steps away from our house and heard the ball bouncing, she brought me out of the house in my chinelas and sando and introduced me to those boys on the street. And she said, "Oh, maglaro ka na muna dyan," and left me out on the street. Little did we both know that that simple moment would be the start of my lifelong love story with the sport, the competition, and the camaraderie. One that would keep me out of the house and on the streets with my barcadas for countless hours extending to late nights and often early mornings. One that would bring me on an unforgettable journey with a lot of hills and valleys along the way. From village and community ligas to just going to the next street or the next village and playing for yellow or ice water. From championships in the PABL, the PBA, and international competitions like the prestigious Jones Cup, and to the most memorable experience of them all, leading the Gilas team that competed in the 2014 FIBA World Cup as their team manager. The first Philippine team to have done so in 36 years. When I resigned from PNG, understand that I did not have any job offer in basketball. In fact, I had not yet even started looking for a basketball job yet. However, I knew and was confident of 2 things. A, that I had prepared for more than 3 years for the opportunity that would soon reveal itself to me. Since I couldn't play competitive basketball anymore, I knew that the next best thing was to get into coaching. So I started buying and reading books on this subject. I cold called, knocked on the doors of, and spoke to so many people and organizations asking about coaching clinics. These included the PBA, the Basketball Coaches Association of the Philippines, and the Philippine Amateur Basketball League, all to no avail. However, I did not waver. Finally, I chanced upon a coaching seminar that Coach Chot Reyes was organizing. Coach Chot was bringing in Coach Tom Newell, the son of the legendary and Olympic champion Coach Pete Newell. While I had read Coach Pete's books and wanted to meet and learn from him in person, listening to his son would be the next best thing. And since I did not have to travel to the US and spend for airfare, lodging, food, and transportation, I made the decision to maximize Coach Tom's presence and enroll and attend both of his seminars. One for beginners, which I admittedly was, and one for advanced. It wasn't cheap, and to this day I kid Chot about having me pay to attend when at the end of the day, he surely benefited, as I have as well, from our working and personal relationship over the last 2.5 decades. As an excited newbie, I came in much earlier than the 1 p.m. start time for the advanced class. And I was entering the Blue Eagle gym through its long, dark, narrow corridor that suddenly opens up into the cavernous gym with its storied basketball floor and its historic wooden benches. I saw all of them, and then I froze. There they all were, the coaches whom I had only seen on TV. Coach Chot, Coach Tim Cone, Perry Ronquillo of Shell, Coach Norman Black, Binky Favis, Eric Altamirano and Frankie Lim of Piltel, Derek Pumaren and Louis Alas of Pure Foods, There were easily 60 of these professional coaches there. Most of them I knew by face. And of course, they did not know who I was. It was such an intimidating moment to be among these basketball luminaries. All of them talking about the latest possible trades, or the nuances of defending the pick and roll, or the complexity of motion offenses. All of these I did not have a clue about. All the while, I was taking it in, absorbing it all, and learning as much as I could. With all of the professional basketball coaches there, and no one from the beginner class earlier in the day, I did the only thing that I could do at that time, which was to look for a familiar face, a friend, and more importantly, to act as if. Let me repeat that. Act as if. Sure enough, I did see Coach Ryan Gregorio, who had been my teammate many times over in the community leagues. I approached him, spoke to him, sat near him. Listened to the speakers and the conversations, acting as if. Acting as if I had been in this arena for decades. Little by little, becoming more comfortable with the environment, acting as if. Acting as if I belonged with this League of Legends in Philippine basketball. This was 23 years ago. Those accomplished coaches whom I had the opportunity to learn from and exchange ideas with have all become my friends. The coaches I coached against in the UAAP and the PBA, and coached alongside on the national team. Certainly today, or at least at that time that I retired from basketball, I did belong to that group of top professional basketball coaches. As they say, I will prepare and then my time will come. Not the other way around. Otherwise, you will miss the opportunity. It will stare you in the face and you will not even know that it is an opportunity waiting for you. So remember, preparing ahead is vital. A success comes at the intersection of preparation and opportunity. The Navy SEALs have their own unique saying, "We are experts at becoming experts." Even if they know nothing about a certain topic, given enough time and resources, their ability and willingness to study and learn will allow them to become experts in due course. After studying for 5 years or more at our beloved College of Engineering, you may think that you have already prepared enough. But you are just getting started. Do you have the hunger and willingness and discipline to begin again and start your journey to becoming the expert in your chosen field? Number 3. When I did leave the dream job, it wasn't just my dream job, it was everybody's dream job. Being one of only a handful of professional basketball coaches or sports executives in this basketball crazy nation of ours, that is most everyone's dream job. So not surprising, when I left, I received many questions like, why did you leave basketball? Ano nang gagawin mo ngayon? And the answer is that I have already scaled the mountain that is the basketball and sports profession. I have reached the summit and I have nothing to prove. I need another challenge. A challenge that will truly make me grow and fulfill my potential. And while looking for this challenge in 2011, I came across renewable energy, solar, wind, and hydro, and soon to come energy storage. Yes, those really big batteries. As I had done in 1998 when I began putting in the work to learn about coaching, I also put in the time to learn more about renewable energy. I talked to my former classmate about the run-of-river hydros that they were building. I made trips to Mindoro and Cagayan de Oro to see the first solar plant ever built in the Philippines and to inspect a couple of potential hydro sites. In other words, I was investing myself to learn more about RE and start my journey to becoming a quote-unquote expert in this field. Why did I want to get into renewables? Vision. I knew that it was the future. It was then, as it still is now, a sunrise industry. One wherein growth will happen for the next 10 to 20, perhaps even 30 years. Industry experts have called the energy transition, moving away from coal and fossil fuels to renewable sources, the single biggest opportunity in our lifetimes. More importantly, it will impact the quality of life for the current generation and the generations to come. It is a battle against climate change. It is a battle against time. If I were looking for a big challenge, I certainly found it. This is one challenge that will unleash my true potential, especially because this challenge was out of my comfort zone. 7 years later, here I am. Here we are. CleanTech Global Renewables has already developed and built 3 solar plants with an aggregate capacity of 57 megawatts, representing approximately $80 million of investments. Beyond this, we have a pipeline of wind and solar projects well beyond 1,000 megawatts. What does this all mean? Just one thing, that CleanTech has a chance to succeed as it competes against climate change and time. There is nothing more compelling today than sustainability. We have all heard and experienced the increasing average global temperature, the hotter days, and the longer droughts. The number of typhoons, tsunamis, and the progressively devastating effects that they have had on the more vulnerable countries like the Philippines. Hopefully, your future employers will have their own sustainability programs. If they do not, then you still have your voice. You can, along with the other youth, be part of Our Energy 2030, the next generation coalition of youth groups and relevant organizations, advocating for a responsive and inclusive transition to renewable energy in the Philippines. You can participate in this energy transition. In fact, you must. Because as of today, the future now belongs to you, my dear graduates. You will decide your future. You will decide our future. And you will certainly decide the future of the next generations. As you consider how you may take a stand and fight climate change, I want you to ponder these thoughts that I have shared with you today. There are really no mistakes in life, but only chances and opportunities to discover who you truly are and what you are made of. Wherever you are and whatever you decide to do will require you to invest in yourself, to put in that time and the hard work and the unwavering commitment to make yourself better. You will always have a compelling reason for every decision that you will make in your lifetime. Mine was to make this world a better place. I leave you with one thought. As the legendary Henry Ford, the founder of the car company that bears his name, and on each and every steering wheel that is made by that car company once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right." To our dear graduates, go out and conquer the world, make your own mistakes, and enjoy life's journey. And while doing so, make sure that you think you can. Congratulations to you all.